Welcome to the Tourism Hub podcast, a podcast devoted to you and your excellence, providing inspiration and education for the entrepreneurs, experience makers and excellence seekers of our industry to take your tourism business and career to a whole new level. And I am your host, Despina Karatius.
Relax.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tourism Hub podcast. Again today I have a very, very special guest from the winning headquarters of Geelong Tourism, Greater Geelong and the Bellarine, and I have the great pleasure of chatting today with the 2017 RACV Victorian Tourism Award winner of Industry Training and Development for the state. I've got Industry Training and Development Manager Lakshmi Cashmore. Welcome.
Thank you.
I need that that sound over.
Follows me around.
Yeah, that follows you around. Lakshmi, congratulations on your recent win. Fabulous result at the RACV Tourism Awards. Now, you won a category for making our businesses better.
Yes.
That's the category of who makes the businesses better in their region or in their business, and you took out that gold award. Now, I had a little chat to you on that night, and it was just such a thrill to see you
I don't even remember what I said.
It was shock. It was elation. Yeah. It was total.
I think I'm still in shock.
So ecstatic. It was just such a wonderful thing to be a part of. So I would love to have an extended chat because that was like 2 minutes of your time, and I really appreciate your time today. Now, firstly, let's talk about the Tourism Awards and actually deciding to go into the Tourism Award. What was it that what was the moment? Did you have an aha moment that you said, oh, this year I'm going to go for it because we're doing some great things in training and development? What was it?
I think I previously had entered under visitor services when I was working in the visitor services team. We entered 2 out of the 3 years that I was there, and every year at the end of it, you go, I'm never doing that again. I'm not doing that again. That was too much time, too much work. I'm not doing it. The next year rolls around and you're like, oh, yeah, let's give it a go. So
I could so relate to that.
So because I'm not in the visitor services team anymore, we were looking the local government award, and we were kind of going back and forth on whether we should enter that award under Geelong Council. And then we were looking through all the categories, and I saw there was a training and development one, and I had a chat to Tracy Carter, who works in our office, and I just thought we've really lifted our game in training this year in the last qualifying period. I just thought we've added our online program, we've extended into 2 training areas, tourism specific and general training. I just thought, why not? Let's just try. We're all very excited until we realised that the Melbourne Tourism Leadership Program was going to be our competitor, one of our competitors. And so we kind of sat back and we're like, oh, we actually considered not entering because we hadn't really gotten a start on it properly, and we just thought, what's the point of doing it if you're not going to win? And then we just thought, oh, well, let's just do it. We'll just have a go. But we honestly went into it thinking, we'll come second. We don't know how many people are entering, but we know one really big competitor, and they're going to come first because, it's the world's best leadership program. I might be biased having done it this year. And so we didn't even, sometimes you're like, oh, I'd be happy with second, but there's that little thing in your head that's like, oh, but it would be really great to go first. We did not even have that. I just 100% thought we were going to, come second or third, and that I was happy with that, to have started from a blank page. We had no document to work off previously, no submission that we'd worked off previously. So we were just starting from a complete blank Word document, and I remember sitting at my desk looking at that blank document and going, what have I gotten myself into? Because where do you start? Like, you just you've got a blank document. I'd never done that before because in visitor services, they've entered, I think, every year almost, like 11 years in a row.
We can see it on the wall. I've taken a little boomerang story of all of the awards here. It's outstanding.
So we've always had something to work off and something to grow from. So to have a blank page was exciting, but, nerve-wracking. But you just start at the start. You just start writing it, I'm really passionate about my training program. I believe in it. I think that it does make businesses better. I've seen evidence of it. I've got feedback from it. And when you're passionate about something, it's almost easy to talk about. It's easy to write about. And I think it just kind of snowballed and you just start writing and suddenly you've written, however many thousand words and it's ready to submit. And then we submitted, and then I think that's why everyone was laughing at my facial expression when we actually won because I 100% didn't think we were going to come first. Just from the bottom of my heart and soul, I thought I was going to be super happy with coming second or third. I was, as long as we placed, that was my goal. So to come first, even to say it still, and I am one of those weirdos that still have the trophy in my office, even though Roger has tried to put it into the trophy area. I refuse because I think I just need it there to remind myself just for this year. Next year he can have it.
Yes.
But this year I just need it there to, look over when I'm having a, average day or when I just think, how am I going to do this? I look over and I go, that was one of the hardest things you've done and look what's there. So it's just such a great reminder, and it's, it's not just my award, it's the team's award, but to have that, sitting there and viewing point is really special to me.
Oh, I love so much about what you've just said. And we were speaking a little bit about that earlier, that you can have these ideas but you can also very easily, it's easier to talk yourself out of those because it's hard.
Yeah.
There's fear of like rejection that, I won't play, so we're going to do all this work.
And I had to I was putting myself up because I was the one that said, I think we've got a good training program. And, Brett and Tracy were like, are you sure? Like it's a lot of work. But they were behind me the whole way. The whole team was, and they helped me get to the end. And I think, I had to put myself out there, which I'm, haven't done a lot of this year. It's been, it's been a big year. And I just, to end on that note was just, I wouldn't be able to really explain how it made me feel or how it makes me feel, but it's just been amazing.
And just starting from that blank document, I love it. You've just shared, just looking at that, starting something from scratch, because this is your baby and it's so important to have the support of your team, on your colleagues, but to build something and then put it out there. Congrats. What an awesome. Now speaking and right on, I think Brett and Tracy, yourself, I was in the 2012 we've all been part of the Melbourne Tourism Leadership
We've got a few
program.
in our office,
And you've got a few. There's always
Narelle and Elise Getson this year has gotten in. So we're very excited because she's a superstar and I think she'll love it. And it's funny because when she just interviewed and just received saying that she got in. So I was remembering back when I, was applying and everyone was like, it's life-changing, like it's amazing. And you kind of go, okay, like you're selling it pretty big. But to have done it, you can't explain it. And you would know. You can't explain the impact it has on your year and then going forward from that. And I'm just really excited for Elise because, she's at the start and it's going to be the best.
And isn't that interesting? Like, so for anyone that hasn't heard, and I've had another guest on the on Tourism Hub, we spoke about Melbourne Tourism Leadership Program.
Yeah.
Adrian Burt, he was also part of the program, saying that, when he looked back and thinking of like something that really defining in his career came up. And it's interesting that here you are, it's the year you've done this fabulous leadership program facilitated by the legendary Mel Neal.
Yes.
And it's also the year, like I'm sure all of those tools that you gathered too gave you that confidence to then go up against the very program.
I know. And do you know what the sweetest thing was? Yeah. So after the award, I ran into Michelle, who manages the whole program, and I said, do I apologize? Like, should I say, I'm like, I'm sorry? And she's like, oh my gosh, no, like don't apologize. And we were just having a chat and I just said, after everything I've been through this year, and she knows a lot that I've been through this year with the program, and it just brings a lot out of you, and you kind of have to – it makes you face yourself in the mirror in a way. Like that's the only way to really explain it. And it, you know, it's been a tough year, and I just said to her, it just means like so much more than just an award to me. And she said – and I said, you know, but sorry for beating you. And she said to me, and I'll never forget, she said – if we were going to lose it against anyone, we'd want to lose against you. And in a way, we've won because you did the program this year. And that's like you won in the year that you did the program. And I just thought that's so like lovely and just such a nice thing to say and so true. Like all, as you said, all of the things that I learnt will stick by me forever. And they're what got through the writing the submission and those nights where you're up till like 2 a.m. and thinking, is this even English? Like, am I even writing proper things? And yeah, so it's amazing.
And a new leader is born. She's always been there. I think, she's just stepped up to the podium, literally. And I think that was the lovely – is it a conundrum? That was the lovely conundrum about this, that it was like here's it's a wonderful thing, and they will be, as Michelle said, just as proud, of this achievement. And I get, in terms of the tourism awards and all the, I guess now there's the accolades of having that badge of honour. That it's the gold, and you've got the wonderful reminder at your office. What are some other things that surprised you? Now, like coming from scratch again and not kind of dusting off the old draft from a visitor servicing, what are some other surprising things that you found throughout the journey of going through a new submission?
Yeah, I think that everybody should start from scratch to start with. I think, you know, I look back on our visitor services submissions and, you know, they were fantastic. They were award-winning as well. But I think when you start from scratch, you start brainstorming fresh things. And I think when we sat down as a group and we went through each individual question, and we did this before we even agreed to write a submission. So I kind of had to prove that I had things to write about under each question. And I had, you know, it was especially Tracy who I sat down with and went through each question, and we brainstormed out what we could talk about, you know, how we would kind of word it, how we would tie it all together. And it kind of just started flowing, and we were like, oh, we could tie it back to this, and, you know, we do this, which means this, and da-da-da-da. And then from that, we kind of fleshed out each question a bit more. Then it became paragraphs, then it became pages, and suddenly it was a submission. So I think when you've got those submissions that you've, you know, been working off for 5-10 years, you forget that things change every year, and even though you're just updating it and you're adding in those things, to start from fresh, it makes you excited about it again, I think, when you're going through every single part of your business and you're going, you know, there were parts of like when we're talking about how we market our training and development program, and I was like, how do we market it? Because I just do things automatically, you know, send out an email each week and, you know, call up people and, you know, contact speakers. And I thought it's never been documented on how that's actually done. We do have a document of how it's done, but I just do it, you know, you just do
on
it
autopilot.
As you need it, on autopilot almost. Yeah. So to actually sit down and write it and go, oh yeah, so that's what I do, and I go, oh God, we do a lot. Like it kind of got to a point where pages and pages, you go, we do a lot, and you don't think about it. And you know, visitor services is the same. You write out all the things that you do as staff and volunteers, and you go, God, where do we even find the time to sleep? Like we just do so much, and it's great to have it on paper.
I love that key takeaway, as in we should always be starting from scratch, because if you were to go back and do a visitor servicing now, you've seen the benefit, like looking at that blank document. I love that.
That's when your passion comes out and you are excited about it. And
yes. And that's also really important, what you said about having brainstorming with the team.
Yeah.
So a lot of the couple of minutes that I had, it sounds like starting from scratch gets everyone involved, that things that you may not have They don't know what you do either, or vice versa.
Absolutely.
Right?
The other part of it is getting everyone that is involved in it to be a part of it, because there's things that you do, like there were things that I do that I didn't realize until, Tracy pointed them out. And we're like, oh, don't you do this though? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I do that. But I do it so automatically. And because I'm the one doing it, I don't think it's that special, or I don't think it's that, different to anyone else, but it actually is. And it's something that needs to be put into the submission.
And it's a lovely thing. Like now you've got this document whether it's submitted or not. Even you have this wonderful document of the year that was.
Yeah.
Right? Which is excellent. Winning is the bonus.
Yes.
It sounds like from everyone. And I know, having been through it myself for consecutive years, that is definitely but that's a great share. That's a great insight that you wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think that I haven't heard that one before. Just starting from scratch and the value of that. Now, going your journey, Lakshmi, in starting into tourism, let's go back to how we got to tourism, Greater Geelong and the Bellarine.
Yes.
Now, you've had a really interesting career and you've had experience with working in the happiest place on earth. Take us back to what was your motivation, inspiration, the passion for tourism, where that came from.
Yeah. I think it primarily came from travel, just loving travel. I've been lucky enough to travel, overseas as a kid and child, and, going forward, like interstate with family and, yearly holidays with family and friends. And I think that's the best thing that you can do in life is travel and, learn different things and be out there. And I think when as you said, I did work at Disney World after university, and I actually didn't study tourism. I studied business, HR, marketing, and a little bit of IT, computers. And so I didn't go in going, I'm going to be in tourism. I went in actually thinking I was going to be in HR and be a human resource manager. And then I went to a workshop one day that was basically titled, I don't know what I'm going to do after uni. And I thought, that's me. So I went to this workshop with one of my friends, and they had the speaker from Disney World there, the HR person, and they just sold this magical year that you're going to have, which of course, was some beautiful videos and things that you don't, might not actually have existed, but they sell this story to you. And my friend Matt was like, oh, I think I'm going to do this. And I thought, oh, I might do it too. And then, so it kind of just happened really. I'm not the most spontaneous person. People will tell you that I overthink everything. But it was one of the most spontaneous things I've done is just thinking, oh, I might go to Disney World and work there for a year. So I applied, and they get hundreds of applications all over Australia, and they only accept, I think it ended up being just under 100 people from Australia to go there. So, and it's just like getting a job. You have to interview, do Skype interviews. I think I ended up having a group interview, a face-to-face interview, and then a Skype interview. And then I got accepted, and then suddenly I was, had to pack a bag for a year to go across the world. I knew one person who was going there but doing a different kind of thing, so it wasn't as if we were going to be together the whole time. And I just think, how did I do that? Like, sometimes I think, God, I would be so scared to do that now. But just at the time, I think I just didn't know what I was going to do. And it was almost, in a way, running away a little bit, but it led me to what I needed and what I wanted without realizing. And it was honestly one of the best years of my life. Just amazing. I met amazing friends. I have a best friend, Katie, that I still talk to, and she lives in San Diego at the moment, actually. And it's just amazing, like, to meet people overseas and to have those friends over there is something that not many people have. And I just count myself really lucky. I've been back over there. It's amazing, but it's been 5.5 years since I did that year. And I've been back over there, and to just go and visit people, I can go all over America and visit people, and I just love that. And America wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
But it yeah, it was amazing.
Going through that process, so you've said, yes, this is what I'm going to do. You followed your passion. Again, you followed your gut instinct, similar to how it probably sounds very similar to what you did this year with the Tourism Award. When you decided, yes, that process of the interview selection, what was it that came out of you to stand out against the other candidates?
I have no idea.
Really?
I have no idea. You never think you're special. Like, I don't know. But I have been told by Elizabeth, who interviewed me for my first job at Tourism Grad Geelong in the Bellarine, that I interview very well. So you're not really aware of it when it's happening, though. So I don't know what made me special. But obviously being chosen for 2 different jobs with lots of competitors, there's something.
Certainly following, even just sitting across from you, interviewing you for this podcast, you have a very authentic nature about you, and you don't do things half-heartedly or do things that you don't believe in. I don't see you.
No.
Like, you wouldn't be there just to get a free ride.
No,
in Florida.
Not.
You were there, you made that decision, and that always comes across when you love what you do.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned Elizabeth. She's also been a guest on Tourism Hub podcast. We just had her. We just spoke to Elizabeth in terms of because that was your first job coming back.
It was. I was jobless for a month, and it felt like the longest month of my life. But
because that would have been interesting too, coming back from such a high. You've just had the best year of your life.
Yeah.
It's
called the Disney depression.
Really?
Yeah, it's a term that we all use.
Because I've just thought that would be like a post-holiday depression. That would be on another level.
It is. It's called the Disney depression. And most people that go on this intern program get it. And it's just that, as you said, you're at 100 and you've got all these friends and you have this community that you've had to build yourself, and to leave that and go back to life that, you think everything's going to change, but you're the person that's changed. And I think in any situation, I think school and work, and there's lots of situation where you change so dramatically and you think everything around you should be changing, and when it doesn't, it's really hard to adjust. And I think that's kind of what the Disney depression is. And I definitely had that. I got back and just thought I will do anything to go back to America. Like, I was looking for jobs. I was wanting to do this intern program again. I wanted to do anything to get back there. And then, in a way, being hired and coming to work here saved me, because I think I couldn't think of anything else. I didn't see anything else except going back, because that's all I knew for a year, and that's where I thought I belonged. And then I, came back skimp broke and needed to apply for jobs. So I was looking at jobs, and I saw this job, the visitor services job, and I applied for it and came in and interviewed and got the job. And then, it took a while to kind of get back into life and get back into routine. But then, it was a year later, and now it's 5 years later, and I haven't really looked back. So, it's just, I think the way to get through it is to just find that next journey and next thing to get you through.
Oh, I want to talk about Elizabeth with you, but just in terms of Disney, the Disney culture, and now being an industry training and development professional, looking back on that journey of being trained and fitting into a culture that prides itself on servicing people that are coming from all around the world to be happy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What was that journey like, or what do you take away? What have you taken away from that in terms of the way they train and build that culture internally?
So when you start, before you even get to America, they do 12 online programs that you have to do that have to do with customer service and training and that kind of thing. And then when you get across there, you have 2 weeks before you even do anything of training, and they do, how to greet customers, they just train you on everything. So you go in, you have training on customer service and retail experience, and you are assigned a job. So I was assigned ticket sales and hospitality within a hotel. and you get trained specifically on that as well. So there's general training and then you have specific training. But they also don't choose people that haven't done customer service and they haven't, I worked at Myer throughout uni. That was my, part-time job, and that, Myer has a standard as well. And so I've been trained in customer service most of my life, and I've always been interested in teaching training. And, when I was a kid, I always thought I was going to be a teacher. That was like I'm not doing anything else except being a teacher. And then I got to uni and it was suggested I should just have business as a backup, and then you can do a year to be a teacher at the end if you still want to. And then got through business, got to Disney, got here, and, I haven't, I might be a teacher one day, but I am in a way. I'm still doing what I want to do, but just in a different avenue.
That is, everything serves the purpose, doesn't it? Yeah. Even reflecting back on saying, well, to get through the 100 out of thousands of applications, even that part-time job that you've done through high school or university, particularly speaking with if anyone that is aspiring to get into the tourism industry, everything counts. Yeah. It's just being active and putting your hat in the ring and going for these things, isn't it? Paid or unpaid. Yeah. Like I know we've listened to the episode with Elizabeth Curtin about even volunteering and what can be taken away from that. But I love that you can draw back from experience everywhere in your path. So you are fulfilling that childhood dream of teaching through doing and service. I guess now you service particularly the small business community, not just within the industry, but the greater good of the regional businesses in the area. So when you think about any challenging times, so you reference back, this has been it's been a challenging year. It's also been a very rewarding one. Over the years now, coming back to, so it's been a 5.5-year journey with the Greater Geelong.
I was part of Geelong Otway Tourism before it turned into Tourism Greater Geelong and the Bellarine. So in February next year will be 5 years.
Fantastic.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. But time flies when you're having fun, right? You're not, And when you think of tools that you've been able to, tools or personal skills that you've been able to develop to manage or handle those challenging times, what are some of the things that can help you persevere and get through them?
I think the main thing is the people around you and the environment that you're in. I think especially this year, without the team that I have at work, the family I have at work, I would have struggled. And I think, sometimes family are the people you choose to have around you. I don't live with my family and I don't live close to my family at the moment. And, it's hard to have struggles going on and not being able to just go and visit, your family. So to have that environment around you where you can turn to someone and turn to people and talk to them, or even just, do you want to go get a drink? Do you want to go, grab a coffee? It's just such a nice environment to be around. I think knowing who you are and kind of knowing what maybe not knowing who you are, but knowing what is right and wrong, and knowing, should I be doing this? Is this right? And, following your gut. And I think I do follow my gut a lot, and, sometimes it leads me down paths I would rather not, but sometimes it, does create wins, and you just have to go with it, I guess.
Yeah, I read something, I can't reference where it was, but it's like your gut, it's your second brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your second brain that you can't,
And it's not emotional. I think your brain isn't emotional and your gut's not emotional and your heart is. So people go follow your heart, but I think you should really follow your gut because it's using both your brain and your heart.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Very important. Now, speaking of family, I've never seen such a beautiful working relationship with so much mutual respect as I have getting to know you and Elizabeth. And you mentioned she was the one to interview you for this job, and you worked alongside Elizabeth. Yeah. And she's finishing up soon, next week. How important to work with, I guess, having a mentor, and how could you sum up how Elizabeth has influenced your career path throughout your journey here?
Have you got a week? I think in relation to having a mentor, I think it's really important. I think it's whether that's somebody in your workplace or out of your workplace, it's really important to have somebody that you look up to and somebody that can give you guidance. You know, sometimes it might be your parents, it might be a sibling, it might be, you know, just a friend, it could be a work colleague. So I think that if you don't have someone to be a sounding board for you, you get stuck in your brain and you can't figure out what you actually want or what you should be doing. And I think I've been really lucky coming into Tourism Greater Geelong and the Bellarine because we have 17 staff, or 17 including me, and every single one of them is like family to me. And, you know, it's rare to have that. It is really rare. And I didn't know it when I came in, and people don't know it when they come and start working here, and then they realise that there's just this, as you said, mutual respect. There's this family, there's this beautiful environment where you can just be yourself and, yeah, you can talk to people. You can, you know, we all socialise together as well, and I've been on holidays with people and it's just that environment that a lot of people don't have. In relation to Elizabeth, yes, she interviewed me when I started, so almost 5 years ago, and I worked with her for about 3.5 years, which is quite a long time for the position with her. The position is kind of for a starter and most people are just there for a year or so, but I was there for 3.5 years. Just couldn't get enough learning in, just kept wanting to learn. And I think as you've interviewed Elizabeth, you know Elizabeth, she is really important in the tourism industry, and I just count myself really lucky that I got to be, you know, their first-hand knowledge, first-hand friend to her. And from that, when I moved jobs into industry development, we just continued being friends. And I think it kind of, you know, removed that line between, you know, she was still always my boss, but having moved into industry development, we can, you know, just be friends. And she's, you know, she's kind of a mum to me in a way, and I'm just really lucky to have that.
Oh, I love it. And I can see she also has you as her sounding board too, which is it's beautiful. If anyone, I don't know how anyone can see your Christmas video. So we're recording this in December of 2017.
It's on our industry website.
It's on your industry website.
tourismgeelongballarine.com.au.
There you go. You must go check it out. I'm going to add that link. Into this podcast page, because if there's one thing that gave me team envy, it was this video. It just looked, you can just see it. It's the best Christmas video. It trumps those little elves, you know, that everybody's doing. That should be a new category in the tourism award. Best end of year video. You nailed it. It was a lot of fun to watch, and you can really see that. And, you know, it's all a testament to all of you. In terms of what's getting you, now that Tourism Awards are done, you've graduated from the leadership program, stellar year, what's getting you out of bed and pumped? Now, what I guess in the next 12 months?
I think I'm excited to make, you know, the program bigger and better. I think we've already got some ideas on how to improve on it. We're going to extend like our online training program and kind of offer it wider, add an international marketing component of it. So there's more you can do. And I think, you know, yes, we've won an award, but that was for this year. So we need to be better and we need to keep growing. I'm also excited to be a new auntie. That's what's getting me up in the morning at the moment, just staring at photos of a baby. And, personally just growing from this year. And, you know, it's one of those years that you think I've grown so much this year and I've learnt so much this year, and next year I'm going to put it into practice and make it, you know, such a great year and just hit the ground running. So I'm excited to do that.
I'm excited for you. I was going to save like these for 2018, but people need to hear this now. I love that. That is such a great attitude. Okay, that was this year. Well, you're already looking forward. It's already it's happened. How can we improve? Yeah. That is wonderful. Okay, excellence round time for you, affectionately known as Lucky. I call you Lucky Girl. In the beginning of launching your career in tourism or otherwise. You didn't really know it will be tourism after you finished uni. What would you say, what was holding you back?
Probably myself, just doubts and not knowing, I guess. And I'm still exploring it a little bit in not like doubting yourself when you're doing things. And, you know, I'm only 28, so having such a important job in such an important business means a lot to me at this age. And I think, you know, as you said, Elizabeth, she's been in the industry for years and, you know, she's retiring. And I think if I could have a career or have an influence that is 5% of what she's done, I would just, you know, and I look at her and think, you know, with her passion and she just gets things done. And I think that's what, you know, I aspire to be like. And I've already forgotten what the question was.
Oh, no, you nailed it. Yeah, you're saying what was holding you back and that a little bit of doubt.
But learning not to doubt yourself too much because, and I think also something, you know, people told me in this office, I can't even remember who it was specifically that told me, but I remember in my first year I sent out an email that, you know, it had a spelling, something was spelt wrong, and I just freaked out and I was like, oh my God, how do you get the email back? You can't get the email back. They're going to fire me. Like, I'm gone. And I think it was Tracy actually said to me, no one's going to die from it. You know, whatever we do, no one dies from it. It's not world ending. It's not, you know, people make mistakes and everything can be fixed in this business. Like, you know, yes, you make a mistake, but you can work to fix it or you can work your way around it or you can, you know, bring people together and try and fix it. And I think that's what I've always tried to remember in doubting myself or the program or anything is, you know, at the end of the day, we're just humans and that's...
Good advice from Miss Tracy, which has already answered my next question I wanted to ask you about the best advice you've ever received.
Yeah, definitely, you know, we've got heaps of people in this office that I get good advice from. I think something that I always remember in personal and business was what Elizabeth actually told me on my first day of work. I walked into the office and she said, oh, how are you feeling today? And I said, yeah, nervous. And she's like, nervous but excited? And I said, yeah. And she said, it's good to feel nervous because it means something to you. And I think, and I always repeat that back to her and she doesn't even remember saying it because she says all these amazing things and quotes that she doesn't remember, but that's something that I'll always remember. And even, you know, at our graduation, I made the end speech for the leadership program and I hate public speaking. It's one of my greatest fears. And I just remember feeling so nervous and I just remember thinking, it means so much to me. Like it just is important to me. So I think that's something that I'll always remember and take with me.
Ah, I love that. And you have so much evidence now, you know, when you're kind of going, oh, you know, the self-sabotage, whatever happens to stop us. I think Lakshmi is someone to have this wonderful tapestry of experience and be surrounded by so many wonderful mentors. Yeah. Now you have these like, who says so? I have, look. Yeah, you've got evidence. Yeah. There's concrete. I know you love to research and you love the facts and you've got evidence to support and trump that, that nonsense. A personal habit that you have developed that's contributed to your success. What's a personal habit that you've always had or recently developed?
Always had and become worse is my little OCD things that I have.
Yeah.
You know, colour-coded folders and highlighting, and everyone always laughs because on my pin board I only use blue pins and they all have to be the same. I have, you know, everything's colour-coded to what category it fits into. My emails are very OCD, filing. So, and it's very annoying. Like, I know it's annoying because people will be like, well, can we just do it this way? And I'm like, sorry, I have to put it in this folder. Like, I can't not. And it's something I've had a lot, but I think through this having to be really organised has made it worse in a way.
Yeah.
And it's always a good and bad thing. Like, it's good because I always know where everything is and I can find something and I you know, it's become what it is because it is organised and there's a process to it. But I know it is really annoying sometimes as well. And I try not to, but it's hard.
Oh, that's a wonderful habit, though, to be super organised, but it filters. I know you're organised, but I didn't know to that extent.
But I don't, it's not, I know that some people have it really badly, but I think I have it to just a good enough extent
but it's
that
working.
people don't realise until, someone sits in my office and goes, why do you only have blue pins in your pin board? And I'm like, because I literally will look at it and not be able to look at it. Like,
so in terms of a resource, so even with your organisational skills, do you have an internet resource or otherwise that you absolutely love and you couldn't do without, that helps you with your day-to-day management of things?
I don't think an online resource, but I think I know we've moved on to phones and phone diaries and computer diaries, but I will always have a paper diary on my desk at all times. And I've always been like that. As soon as I get a calendar invite in on my email, I'll put it into my written diary. So really I have 2-3 diaries, but the written diary is so important to me because I just feel more organised. I can visualise what it is. It's how I, organise everything, how I plan all the training, make sure, there's not too many in a week, a month. And online, I don't really use a lot of online resources. I think I try and be original in training and development. I guess the one online resource I would use is, finding speakers and stuff. I'm always looking out for great speakers and conference speakers that we can use. So, yeah, but there's no specific website, I don't think.
I like that, though, going back, having it as a backup.
Yeah.
Everyone does share online tools, but, the importance of the paper diary. I know I'm the same with just note-taking. I always have to have a notepad with me. There it is. Yeah. Any book that you've read recently that you could recommend?
I haven't read a lot of books lately. I don't remember what the name of the book is, but it was from the leadership program. It was all about your mind and like hijacks that come over your mind and how to deal with them and how to deal with certain situations, things like that. I cannot remember the name or author, but if you ask Mel Neal, she'll be able to tell you.
Well, we can, have a look and we'll ask Mel what it is and we can put it in the show notes for everyone to check out. And I guess a parting piece for any young aspiring tourism professional like yourself that wants to really get in there and roll their sleeves up, what would be a parting piece of advice to them?
Just do it. Just go.
Just do it. Do a Nike. Just do it. Yeah.
Just apply for jobs and do your best.
Yeah.
And get to know people, because I think, as you would know, tourism is all about networking. It's all about who you know and making sure that you can, call up someone and go, I'd love to know a bit more about this. Who can I call? And just knowing people or knowing people that know people, and you can, always find the right person to talk to. I think that networking is one of the most important things.
Networking, that's a great parting piece of advice. And in terms of connecting with you, where can we connect with you, Lakshmi? So we've got tourism, the website.
So we've got our industry website, which is tourismgeelongbellarine.com.au. And we've also got our consumer website, which is for visitors, some beautiful imagery and things to do in the region, which is visitgeelongbellarine.com.au.
And the handles on socials, I'll add them in. You've got some.
At Geelong Bella.
At Geelong Bella.
Yeah.
And Visit Geelong Bellarine for Instagram and Twitter. Favourite quote of all time?
Oh, it was actually, I don't know if it's my favourite quote of all time, but it is on my pin board and I love it. It's one that Elise gave to me once, and it says, "A great attitude turns into a great day, which turns into a great week, great month and great year."
Definitely going to publish this on this side of 2017. Lakshmi, congratulations on everything. Thank you so much for doing this with me, and all the very best for another consecutive stellar year in 2018. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Christina.
Relax.